My name is Zero Cool Gamer, and I figured we'd talk a little bit with a couple of happy fellas and one guy from across the pond for the crippling truth about some of this game, which is Marvel Strike Force. I have two on the line here. We got Flyhi, who is just ecstatic about the most recent tournament, and our fellow from across the pond, JPT. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, doing good.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Okay,
hanging
so
in there.
About
we we could call this the state of the game or review or how mad we I guess the community is with certain things that are going on in the game. I think U32 was probably the part where it just the straw that broke the camel's back because if you didn't do well in the tournament, you could basically just be dropped even more significantly than you did in the season. So you could fight as hard as you want in the season, and then within 5 days, poof, you're gone. You're down even lower than you were when you first start when you started the previous season. So let's go with the one that's probably more annoyed by the entire U32. Fly, what's your take on it?
Well, here's my problem with the U32. It's a tournament. It should be played as a tournament, as something fun. It should not be counting against you as far as your rankings. Um, I fought very hard last season to get up to Masters 3, and I lasted one day. I won my first round, and then I lost the next four. So I fell roughly about 200 spots, maybe over 200 spots. So now I'm back in Masters 2. So now I get to do this all over again this season. Fight to try and get back into Masters 3. The U32, some people don't want to play it. Let's be honest. The three rooms, it's nice that you can preview the three rooms. That you at least three of the six rooms you're going to see next season. That is nice. But you got our rosters are so big now that I mean, honestly, leave it at six rooms. You know, if it's the six rooms we're going to see, maybe do three rooms from the new season, three rooms from the previous season. You know, mix it up like that. I'd be good with that. But three rooms are just garbage. Um, you get six tries. You know, it's just frustrating to me. They should never count towards your rankings. That because there's honestly people that don't want to play U32. They don't want to play the tournament. They would like to maybe have a weekend off. I mean, this past weekend was July 4th weekend. A lot of people went out of town, but you're forced to play or you're going to drop in the rankings, or you're forced to play and lose and just get frustrated. So if you would just turn the rankings off, and that way, if somebody can't play, doesn't want to play, it doesn't affect them. They can do what they want to do without it hurting them, or vice versa. If you take a beating in the tournament, you can take the beating and it doesn't affect you long term. As far as the rankings go. So that that would be that's my biggest issue with the U32 tournament. Um, Other than that, CC is my favorite game mode, but I just do not like this tournament stuff.
I'd love to hear from
JPT.
somebody across the pond about the recent tournament. You did have some interesting matchups, but I believe you have a small gripe or two about the tournament overall.
yeah, I think so for myself. So I before it started, I ended I think it was top 50. I think it was like 47, something like that, whatever it was. And I went 2 and 3. So I actually on my score it said I got minus 17. and I dropped about 80 spots from that. I'm still up where I was before the tournament started. So in my perspective, it's not as detrimental as Flyers, but still, like even from say just 17 points, I dropped over 80 spots. So that to me, for one, yeah, the whole ranking, I do agree. Like it doesn't need to be part of the tournament. It's to me, the tournament needs to be used as a way to have some fun in the game without any consequences or repercussions. It should be a way to not to use it as a testing room for Crucible, but either just previewing the rooms that are coming up for the next season, either find ways, like real fun, interesting ways you can add chaos to the game. So because it's a one-off thing, or what, it comes around I think it's nearly every other end of season now. So, and seasons what last like 7-8 weeks, however long it is. So it's not often, basically. And just use it for a few days of here's some real crazy, like theory crafted teams that people are going to come up with, and have fun with it. And if you win, lose, doesn't matter. Like it's not structured in the same way how a typical season is in a ranked game mode, which is kind of it in MSF world. That's what Crucible is. It's a ranked game mode, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed the whole summoning and the clones and that room aspect. Like find ways to manipulate more with doing random stuff, as in like clone maybe another 2 more characters. Like find ways to expand your team, should we say? Like I said, just use it as a way to have fun. That's how I view it as.
So I always find U32 interesting, fun, just something to play with. Previously, they had rooms that didn't really flow over to the next season, so you were like, yes, but a couple of those rooms were actually amazing to play in because there was a lot of theory crafting going in them, and then we never saw them again. So I guess the take is anytime there's something fun that comes into the game, it gets pulled right out, and you're like, well, now we're left with this. What do we do? But the overall feeling, or at least the overall part of it, unless you actually got up there where you pulled out at least 3 wins over 2, or 4-1, or 5-0, and you won, a majority of everybody else was just like, no, I'm not feeling this, because either the tournament structure, the ranking part, or the fact that you had to do it over a holiday. Like, I don't... some people, you might be able to go ahead and have some time to do it, sure. Or you just don't make it necessary where there's no ranking involved, and you could just miss out. The other person could get the win, but hey, that's fine. They can get a little bit of rewards for it, but it's not going to affect your season ranking overall. That would be helpful. So I do agree. The rankings should not be something that's in here for it. You should just have fun if you want to. Me personally, if they turn the rankings off, they should probably give a little bit more extra rewards just to kind of incentivize you to play. But if you don't want them, or you just don't care, you just don't play. Screw it. That's it. But I could see a lot of mid-game players, lower-game players going, you know what? If I get a little bit extra, I'll play it. I'll do it just for a little bit. Even if I try, I get something. But if you got something to do, like, I don't know, spend time with your family on a holiday, you could just say, screw it. I don't feel like doing it today because I got real life stuff to handle. And I don't think I don't know if they've grasped that concept or anything, but it is what it is. It's just, hey, it is what it is with the tournament. The next big topic, which I believe is like a 99% disapproval rate, because there's always going to be some at least one dumbass that's going to be like, I like it, I do. But the negative zone, replaying it over and over and over again. Now, that there are more cons than pros here. The only pro that was decent that I enjoyed was getting, some rewards and doing the stuff for the Omega Red event. Getting more, stuff for that and trying to get as much as you could to get the 6th or 7th on them and be done with it. Great. But I didn't like every day going, well, now I got to do this over again. 8 nodes where I know I can beat it. Oh, wait, they added 4 more. Let me go ahead and beat. Oh, wait, the same rules don't apply as the first 8? Well, fuck me. Now we're dealing with something a little bit harder, which I'm okay with harder to a point, but you didn't really state it. You just kind of found out. People just started saying, like, I don't think Vigilantes is working the way it was. Oh wait, the all the stuff that they usually get, it's not turned on for these ones. You basically just got to be lucky. And people weren't feeling it because you had to either have the energy, which they didn't give out in abundance, or you wasted cores. So now my cores are gone. But JPT, how did you feel about playing the negative zone over and over and over again?
It's like literally, I said to you earlier, it got to the point because we've done it so many times now. I can literally memorize what ability and cooldown is going to be ready for a character in certain parts of the node because it goes practically the same way every single time. And because the biggest issue is, like, if you want to do repetitive content like that, and I say content, it's not content, it's fucking boring as shit. It's not gameplay, it's no nothing. Don't have it on for 2 weeks for one, and of course 2 weeks and then another 2 weeks and back to back, all this going on. Like, and then like you said about the Omega Red, it's like, yeah, Omega Red CC, great, but you want the character up high. And then you feel really bad if you miss a day or two because you don't want to play this boring, what do you even call it? Because it's not a game mode. You don't want to play this boring task that you've got to do. And it eats up about 30-40 minutes of your time. Either your time or just your phone being occupied, or if you play it on, emulator in the computer, like you've got to have it on in the background, whatever. Like, it's just not good in my opinion. Like, they need to just get rid of it or change it, or maybe if they want to expand on it like they have been, like adding more nodes, like just forget about the first load and add the new stuff into it. So in that way we can get it over and done with in 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, I think a 10-15 minutes on the 4 new nodes would be fine, but doing all of them over again and then new nodes along with it, you're just like, I don't want to do this. This is taking too long. I have other stuff to do, and I'm not getting like super amazing rewards. If they would have, my recommendation was every time they add nodes, they quadruple the rewards based on what they previously were. So now I'm getting 4 times as much than with 12 nodes instead of 8. Oh wait, now we're gonna get 16. Now I'm gonna get 16 times as much nodes as I did before. Oh, you know what? For 16 times the amount of the rewards that we got per node for it, I would do the nodes over and over again. I'd be okay with it. That's a lot of training mats. I'd be happy with that. It would stockpile a little bit. It helped me around. But it didn't. It gave you minimal amount of rewards, and it wasn't really like... It was difficult if you didn't memorize the nodes, or you didn't have the characters where they went, a curse is coming, so you need to have a curse. Well, not everybody's going to buy it or core them, and guess those nodes are going to be harder for you, but hey, that's on you. Basically, buy it and call it a day.
Well, the funny thing is the Crucible section, should we call it, or should we call it the curse section? I never use a curse once because they suck in that type of scenario. They're very good for maybe one node, but after that one node you use their cooldowns, you can't do anything with them. So in
It's
the
too
end,
slow.
like say, I never used them once throughout the whole negative zone. I just made a team of Professor X, Odin, and Mephisto, and put Phoenix Force with them, or I put Blade and Oath with them, like, and that's all I did. Like because say the show is it a showcase for them, whatever you want to call it, but that they just do not work in that type of mode because, like I said, their cooldowns are awful. Like as soon as you use their ability once, they don't get ability energy back any way possible. So now you're like, great, I'm stuck with basics for this whole rest of the of negative zone, and I'm getting hit like a truck, and I can't hit like a truck back.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it. I don't
The
want to feel it, but
the first negative zone when you had the two teams that were highlighted were Vigilante and Thunderbolts. Of course, Thunderbolts didn't do jack. I didn't mind that. It was fun. When they put those 4 extra nodes in there for a cursed, they did not tell us, and I was one of the ones that blew a lot of cores until I went on Dorky. I just happened to throw Dorky on one, and he's like, guys, don't waste your cores, and I was like, oh man, I wish I would have heard this about 30 minutes ago, because I probably blew
yeah, it was
1,000 cores just trying, refresh, trying to get through them. I didn't have a cursed, and Thunderbolts wasn't doing anything. Vigilante was tough. I liked the first run rewards. I liked the time run rewards. I was okay with that. Then they had to mess up where you were still getting the node rewards. When the Phoenix Force thing came along, hey, that's fine. Okay, we could use any character we wanted, but it basically turned into an auto fest. Just put your 5 in there, hit auto. One of them died, fine, but we were at least getting node rewards. This one, the one that they just released, and the one for the Phoenix Force was a little bit harder. I will say that was I ran it manually the first time, and then I just started autoing it after that, and that's all I did. But this one, you're not getting any node rewards. You're going to get the time rewards. You're going to get the first run rewards. Okay, that's fine. But then let us just, like you said, I don't want to do the first 8 again because I've done them so many times. I don't want to do them. I'd rather do the Fantastic Four ones, or maybe change it instead of adding nodes. Just put a different 8, nodes in there for each set of teams. One for Thunderbolts, one for Vigilante, one for Cursed, and one for the new Fantastic Four MCU team. That's fine. I don't need node rewards, but as long as I don't have to keep running it, so run it twice, be done. Fine, I'm good with that. But communication would be nice to know that, hey, these nodes are for a certain team. Because once you get past that last Odin node with Vigilante, I went in there with Vigilante on the next one, on the second, and they just got destroyed. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And of course, I'm refreshing and spending cores, not thinking, because I do have a tendency to get a little angry, and I call it rage coring. And so communication would have been nice, but now that I understand it, like this one, I'm gonna go where I go. When I die, it's 20 days. I'm gonna let it reset. Then I'll go where I go. When they die, let it reset, and just do the at least we're not stuck with this one having to do it over and over again for an event, whereas you're just going to get the first run rewards and then the time rewards, and then you can stop playing.
right.
You don't have to. If they're going to tie it around an event, change it up, because like you guys both said, you're at the point where in a certain node, which characters you're going to have to go after first, what you're going to have to do, and like JPT, I still haven't used a curse in any of these nodes. So I honestly don't know how they work out, but I'll take your word for it that they suck.
I think negative zone overall has just been the amount. 2 weeks doing it is really rough. A week probably would have been great, but they pushed it for 2 because basically, hey, they're going to be off for a little bit, so at least something is running. The bad part is that it wasn't taken probably as well as they thought. This kind of segues into the next part of it, which is the reward structure. Rewards in this game are very, very. Yeah, I don't know if they just put rewards out there and call it an event when it's not really an event. You're not doing anything different than what you normally do. You're doing raids all the time. You're doing war all the time. You're doing arena all the time. Is there anything that else that you wouldn't normally do to call it an event? If they did something with like older Dark Dimensions, where hey, if you played this, you played an old Dark Dimension, and use these characters while doing it to see how quickly you could beat it. That seems like an event. It's something different. It's definitely not the character. It's probably characters I didn't use the first time around, but just to switch it up, it's like, hey, you could do it or not. It's not feeding anywhere else. If you want the rewards, great. If you don't, blah. But instead of giving out rewards, they'll give you borders, which maybe that works in like other stuff, or it sounds great in Twitch if you got a border or two. It lets people know things about you, but here nobody cares. I don't care what type of border you got. Great, you learned you beat Dark Dimension 4,500 times. I don't care. I don't care if it's orange, bright orange, super orange with flames on it and a little fucking thing on the back of it. No one cares. The difficulty has to go with the rewards, and if the events aren't difficult or something's not difficult about an event and you just get the rewards, it kind of feels lackluster, like you didn't work for it, and you're just like, well, okay. If you paid for it, if you paid to get ahead in the event, that's your fault. You paid for it, but maybe you did it because, hey, one, time constraints. I got shit to do. I'd rather just go through the event. Boom, cool. All right, whatever. Cool. But if you paid for it and then complain like, hey, how come it wasn't hard to complete? Well, you fucking paid too, dumbass. So that you kind of gave yourself, you shot yourself in the foot there. You knew you were going to get ahead, and stuff's not hard at all for it. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm not feeling the reward structure right now. The rewards aren't really that great. Raids was super important back in the day. Now you're fighting for what? 2 orbs? Maybe that? If that? War, you get gold and a little bit of some other stuff, but gold is the main commodity out of there. So every 2 weeks you're getting, 11 to 14 or 15 million, depending on where you're at. It's not like it's a big disparity. Arena, it's basically cores. And they're holding intel over us, like, they're holding that sucker hostage. So you can't buy it, but you can get the events to try to get closer to it, but it's just how do you guys feel about the reward structures in this part since the chapter started?
So yeah, firstly, like, because it's been the last like 2, maybe 3 leaderboard events, it's only been borders available as a reward, and to me that's not a reward. And like you said, you don't care about them, I don't care about them, and it's even got to the point you'll look at a border, or either you wouldn't pay attention to someone's border, but even if you were paying attention to someone's border, you have no idea what it's linked to anyway. So it's not like, oh wow, that person looks impressive, they got this in border. I'm like, oh, whatever. Like it just doesn't mean anything. So to me, it's just like, what is the actual point? And then because I spoke to Fly about this other day, what killed it for me as well is the Quasar scourge that happened. I put on in max difficulty. I had every single scourge available, and I got of course, if I did it more efficient, let's say, I could have got a few more points, whatever. But I got the max amount of points from putting max amount of scourges on, and I finished every single node, and I finished just outside the top 100 point. But to me, I was like, I don't need to do this again because what's the point? I've done it once. All I'm doing is gonna get a border, so who cares? The milestone was like 1.8 million, and I scored in like 2.8 million. So I could have very well ended it early and not even did like the last few nodes and still got the full milestone. So it was literally a case of these rewards absolutely suck. I don't need to do this again. It's boring. Like whatever. Like that to me, yeah. They need to incorporate something in terms of make it doesn't have to be anything spectacular, but make it worthwhile. And I've said it for a long time: is golden training mats everyone needs, and you're never ever gonna have a point when you don't need it. Really, for say for majority of players.
Yeah,
And
majority
so
of
having
players.
that
Yes.
available as reward, yeah, like of course, there was a time when like people had like 2 billion gold, whatever. But these are people who spent a ton of money on the game. Like they don't care any regardless, really. Like they buy their rewards, they get whatever. Like they're playing their own sort of separate game, should we say? But like I say, yeah, majority of players, we always need trading mats and we always need gold. So having that in part of the awards isn't going to make us spend more or less, whatever. It's just a case of cool. We got some bit of extra. Like we need it. So it to me, like even that's like a start. Or say there's a couple of skins in the game that I don't think is even being sold. Like have those as rewards. Like at least a skin for a character is a lot more appealing than a border.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's my take on rewards. Like there needs to be a big shift, and I even include as well because I think like a way. So like it's reflecting back on like the negative zone. If they want to do repeatable content, like if they want to do something like the negative zone, how they linking it with with a leaderboard slash Phoenix Force event, all that type of stuff. Why don't they just redo the Dark Dimensions and have a difficulty slider on it? So, right, Dark Dimension 1, you can now bump it up to requires G20 or G19, so the characters have been buffed. And then play those nodes again and get rewards for that. Like, and have that as like a one-off as well. Don't have to do it every single week, but like mix between. We got what 8 Dark Dimensions. Like, pick one each week or pick one every other week. I don't know, and run it once or twice. That's all you need to do. Like, they could use something that's in the game already and just add a slider to it. And in that way, that's to me, it's a way to mix up the content, way to make it different as well, revisiting that what we've already done before. Because let's face it, once you've done Dark Dimension twice, you don't care about it anymore. So yeah, maybe incorporate that into the reward structure, and then find ways to put some rewards in there. Like, because even like with the battle world, they incorporated some of the Phoenix Force orbs in that. Like, so they are adding rewards into like spacing it around in the game. So yeah, to me it seems like they can do that. So that's maybe a way to improve it.
Any thoughts, Fly?
How about you?
Yeah. So, like, like Jay said, I don't care about a frame. I did the Quasar Scourge on level 9. Did every Scourge except the health ones. Went through the whole thing. Got my 1800. Got my rewards and walked away. I was done. I didn't. I have no desire to go back in there. So, like you said, they are holding intel over our head. So to give incentive for something like Scourge, for the not the rewards but the milestone as far as a leaderboard, for 40,000 intel in there, or 20,000 intel in there, you know, and then as you go farther down, you know, 40 for 1 through 50, 20 for 50 through 100, and then just drop it down by 5 after that. So at least you have it gives you some incentive to want to do it more than to want to keep going.
And every player wants
Don't let me
info
get
as
me.
well. Like
Mm.
Intel
Exactly.
can benefit.
And
If you're buying G20, if you're buying character shards, buying trading mats, if you're buying ISOs,
Yep.
because of course purple ISOs potentially, which well, it's heavily speculated, like 4 and 5 around the corner. So we probably might need irons from all that type of stuff. Like every player, every point of the game needs something in that Intel store. So someone's gonna benefit from gaining Intel, and you're not gonna ever have
you
too
know,
much Intel as well.
no, I mean, eventually Intel's going away. We know that, and then that's all going to
Yep.
convert over to shop credits. But until it goes away, that gives us an incentive. Arena, those arena rewards. Ever since they changed it, I mean, now the difference between finishing first and finishing 50 is 100 cores. That's it. The only time my arena is active is during, if there's an alliance event that involves arena, the global, like what's going on with the whole global event for everybody to be involved. That is the only time my arena is active. Other than that, my arena's stale. I've been first, I don't know, a couple weeks now, just sitting there. Unfortunately, I got a blitz to get my strike passes and stuff, but now they're giving that out in the free claims. But there's no, they're just a training. Look, give me a training orb, give me a gold orb, something. Like Jay said, you always need training mats, you always need gold. So if it doesn't have to be major, just something other than a frame. I'd be happy with a costume. That's fine. A skin. That's cool. If I want to shoot for it, cool. If I don't, I don't. But a frame, I'm gonna get my rewards and I'm gonna walk away for the rest of the week. You're never gonna see me do it again because it's not worth the aggravation of trying to push farther up the leaderboard for a frame. I don't care about a frame. So, and that's my take on the at least the rewards for like for the scourges and stuff like that. I have some other feelings on like tower and things like that, but we'll get to that, I guess.